At the break of dawn, the royal couple, Mufasa and Sarabi, welcomed the arrival of their newborn cub, Simba. One day, when Simba was an infant, Mufasa called the Pridelanders to Pride Rock to witness the cub's presentation ceremony. While Mufasa and Sarabi watched proudly, Rafiki took Simba into his arms and carried him to the promontory of Pride Rock. There, he lifted the cub into the air for all the animals of the Pridelands to see. Immediately, the Pridelanders erupted into cheers and bowed before Simba. This marked the beginning of an era where people were going to witness something astonishing. Now, this is how a king teaches the prince about the present and future. Simba grows up into a clever and playful cub with a rambunctious attitude. He grows excited about being king someday after Mufasa shows him the kingdom. Mufasa explains that Simba will one day rule over everything they can see, but warns Simba not to go to a shadowy area beyond the borders of the Pridelands. Though Simba initially believes that being a king is about getting to do whatever he wishes, Mufasa teaches him about the responsibilities of being royalty. When good is done, people with evil mindsets do take birth to destroy the existence of goodness. Scar was the same for Simba. He tricked Simba a couple of times where primarily Mufasa saved his son. But the thing about evilness is that it finds a way out to portray goodness as weak in front of the world. In an incident, Mufasa climbs a sheer cliff to safety after securing Simba on a safe ledge. But near the top, Mufasa came upon Scar looking down on him and pleaded for his brother's help. Instead, Scar threw him off after saying with an evil grin, "Long live the king." This was unknown to Simba, who only saw his father fall to his death. Mourning the loss of his father, the emotionally vulnerable Simba is later tricked by Scar into believing that Mufasa's death was his own fault, and that his mother will be ashamed of him for it. Scar tells Simba he must leave the kingdom and never return. When you hold yourself onto the side of righteousness, people will stand there for your aid. This was the same that happened with Simba as Timon and Pumbaa came to his help. They teach him to embrace Hakuna Matata, which means no worries, and successfully cheer him up to live life to its fullest. They also teach him a very important life lesson, how to put your past behind you, which would become a key role later on in the young prince's life. After years of living an enjoyable, easygoing life in the jungle, Simba has grown up into a fairly carefree young adult lion, but is reminded of his father's death one night while he, Pumbaa, and Timon were stargazing. One day, Simba is called upon to save Pumbaa from a mysterious lioness, only for him to discover that the lioness is his childhood friend, Nala.
Nala? Simba?
After Simba and Nala spend time alone, they discover their friendship has blossomed into a romantic relationship. Nala tries to get Simba to return to the Pridelands by telling him about how Scar's tyrannical rule has left the kingdom with no food or water. He encounters both Rafiki and the ghost of Mufasa, where Mufasa reminds him that he must accept his role in the circle of life, while Rafiki afterwards demonstrates how you can either run from the past or learn from it when he hits him. Simba reveals himself to his uncle after seeing Scar strike down Sarabi. Simba declares to Scar that the pressure of ruling the Pridelands are no longer his and orders him to step down. But Scar claims that he cannot, because all of the hyenas think he's king. Nala arrives with the other lionesses and tells Scar that they do not think he's king and that Simba is the rightful king. A series of sequences happens, and Simba comes to know that Scar was behind his father's death.
I killed Mufasa.
Alongside the lionesses and his friends, Simba leads a subsequent battle against Scar and his hyena minions. After a fight with Scar at the top of Pride Rock, Simba flips his villainous uncle over the ledge. There, Scar is mauled to death and consumed by his hyena henchmen as revenge for trying to pin the murder of Mufasa on them, as well as his derogatory treatment and broken promises of more food. Simba ascends Pride Rock as the lionesses, Timon, Pumbaa, Zazu, and Rafiki watch on. By the time the kingdom is restored to its former glory, Simba has taken his rightful place as king. He marries Nala, and the two have their own cub. Simba has grown into a mature adult, and he and Nala have a daughter named Kiara. Though a loving father, he's extremely concerned and overprotective of Kiara due to his life experiences as a cub. One day, Simba lets his daughter out to play with Timon and Pumbaa to watch her. Kiara ends up crossing over into the Outlands, where she meets Kovu, an outsider cub whose pride was exiled by Simba due to their loyalty to Scar. Simba leaps in to confront Zira, Kovu's mother and Scar's most loyal follower, who was watching the two cubs. Zira tries to goad him into killing Kovu, since the king threatened the death penalty to any outsider who trespasses. But Simba spares him. Simba disciplines her, as his father had with him, scolds Kiara for endangering herself, and explains to her that they are one. Simba later has a weird dream of him trying to save his father Mufasa from the stampede, but is prevented from doing so by Scar, who morphs into Kovu and is thrown off the cliff himself to share Mufasa's fate. Unknown to Simba, Zira has secretly trained Kovu to infiltrate Simba's pride and kill Simba. Simba gradually begins to trust Kovu and Kiara, and Kovu begins to fall in love. Soon, this led to Kovu questioning his loyalty to the outsiders. Simba, believing Kovu had dark motives when he saved Kiara, exiles the lion after refusing to accept his apologies, and silences his daughter when she requests her father to hear Kovu out. Fed up with Simba's stubbornness, Kiara angrily defies her father and explains that he will never be her grandfather, which frightens and hurts Simba deeply upon hearing his own daughter tell him in such a heart-wrenching way to stop trying to be something he isn't. Later, during a rainstorm, Simba enters the cave and learns from Timon and Pumbaa that Kiara has run away before Zazu arrives and announces that the outsiders have initiated a war. Simba heads out to fight with his lionesses Timon and Pumbaa, while sending Zazu to find Kiara. After a lengthy battle, Simba and Zira confront each other directly. Just as the two are about to clash, Kiara and Kovu leap into the middle of the confrontation. Now at first, Simba demands Kiara to step aside to allow their fight to continue. But Kiara reminds Simba of what he once told her when she was a cub, that they are one, which includes the outsiders, and both prides are no different from each other. Hearing Kiara's words of wisdom, Simba takes a good look at the outsiders and the Pridelanders and realizes she's right, while also reconciling with her. The outsiders, also seeing the wisdom in Kiara's words and realizing their leader's willingness to kill one of her own when she threatens to do so with her own daughter for defecting, abandon Zira entirely and join the Pridelanders. After Simba and Kiara climb back up to safety, he apologizes to Kovu for banishing him out of spite as he accepts him and the other outsiders back into the Pride, finally trusting Kovu and that he truly loves Kiara. The two united prides head back to Pride Rock, where Rafiki affirms Kiara and Kovu are married. The disembodied voice of Mufasa then congratulates him warmly for his wise decision, his deep voice rumbling through the air. "Well done, my son. We are one."
Hey!